Hello and welcome back to Europe in an Italian Minute. Today we want to talk about the recent visit by Prime Minister Renzi to Washington and with President Obama. He was there for the biannual meeting of the IMF and the World Bank, and he took the occasion to meet with President Obama, and by all accounts it was a very friendly and a positive meeting. One of the things that perhaps didn't get picked up so much was the full-hearted and enthusiastic support that Prime Minister Renzi presented for the negotiations and hopefully, according to both Presidents Obama and Renzi, the successful conclusion of those negotiations for the TTIP, the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership. Now, it might seem strange that the leader of a party whose roots are in the Communist Party, and at one point was the largest Communist Party in Europe, and the Prime Minister and head of a government of the center-left, would support an agreement that's opposed by trade unions, NGOs, civil society organizations. Even Hillary Clinton in her book has opposed parts of the TTIP. So why would Renzi, as a center-left leader, be supporting an agreement that looks to liberalize entire parts of the economy and transatlantic trade, finding common rules with a large, powerful, and very liberalized economy like the United States? I think we might identify 4 reasons for this. One might be that Renzi is an astute politician and knows the agreement will never come to bear, either because the negotiations will not conclude successfully, or secondly, that President Obama won't get fast-track authority in the American Congress, and the American Congress won't agree. So there's nothing to lose by supporting an agreement that's never going to happen anyway. He looks good in Washington, and it seems that he's on board as a good transatlantic partner. That might be. A second reason might be that Italy is an export-based economy, and there's parts of the agreement that can have important consequences for certain key Italian industries. For example, in the case of food, there might be food safety regulations that will bring to European standards and Italian standards, and also to protect the brands of things like Parmigiano Reggiano, Prosciutto San Daniele, and so on. So there might be strong economic reasons for it, and the economic arguments could go one way or the other. But there might be 2 more politically based reasons. One has to do with internal European politics and dynamics. That is, Italy still remains in a fragile position because of the economic crisis, and it needs to maintain its credibility within the European Union and in international markets as a state and as a member state and as a government committed to liberalizing the economy and introducing competitive pressures. So this has to do with making sure that Italy is not lumped in with those countries on the periphery who aren't able to reform. And this brings us to the 4th reason, and some of it might have to do with Renzi's domestic agenda, which is not simply just to make sure that Italy is on the right side of European commitments and so on, but at least in the rhetoric and in the policies that have been proposed, the center-left government of Matteo Renzi is trying to transform the Italian state and trying to transform Italian society. A powerful agreement like the TTIP, which will bring in all kinds of competition, perhaps into service sectors, would really be a time bomb in those parts of the economy that have been closed. And those would create tremendous pressures for an internal reorganization of the balance of power between different social groups, would undermine the power of trade unions, and so on. Renzi has often been compared to Tony Blair, and in many ways his media savvy and his astute politics does remind us of Tony Blair. But if those reasons are the reasons, that is, that he wants to fundamentally transform Italian society and the Italian state, and he carries through with that, Matteo Renzi might be remembered as Italy's Margaret Thatcher more than it's Tony Blair. Grazie e arrivederci.